If you're my age or a few years younger, or maybe even a little older, you may remember this show, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. A show about Foster's Home for forgotten imaginary friends who were forgotten by the kids that created them because they got too old for them, so they ended up at this home. But in this video, I will tell you a theory about the show that will make this story turn into a very dark tale. So let's begin. The only real character in the show is Frankie. Frankie Foster had autism. She grew up completely alone. She had no friends in her school, and her parents barely paid any attention to her. So out of loneliness, she created an imaginary friend to keep her company. His name was Mikey. Mikey looked like a large teddy bear with soft, cuddly fur and big, adorable eyes. He was Frankie's only friend. While the other children played jump rope or played kickball at recess, Frankie and Mikey were in the back of the playground, talking and playing alone. Frankie and her imaginary friend Mikey stayed friends right up to when she was in middle school in the year 1937. Her teacher noticed Frankie's childish ways and told Frankie's family they should take her to see a therapist. They go to see the therapist, and the therapist hands Frankie's parents a vial of pills that when Frankie took them, it would make her one and only friend disappear. So Frankie's parents crushed up the pills and put them in Frankie's chocolate milk, and over time, Frankie constantly unknowingly took the pills, and she saw less and less of her friend until her friend was completely gone. Distraught at losing her only friend, Frankie began to go into a shell. She would not speak to anyone. She would spend hours after school standing on the blacktop to see if her friend would come back, and she would get up in the middle of the night to sneak out and look for him. One day, Frankie noticed her mom crushing up pills into her chocolate milk. Out of curiosity, Frankie looked at the bottle, and the bottle said, "Pills for Frankie Foster. Give 2 pills daily. Will stop visions within 2 weeks." Frankie's mother sees that. Frankie found the bottle and freaks out. She starts yelling and screaming at Frankie and slaps her across the face. Her mother tries to soothe her because she felt bad afterwards, but Frankie screamed and ran out the door. Frankie ran until she came across a part of her town that was run down and mostly abandoned. She came across a very large abandoned building. And although this place was like a haunted mansion, to her it was paradise. After living in the house for 2 weeks, the effects of the pills wore off. And although Mikey never returned, she imagined other imaginary friends named Blue, Wilt, Coco, Eduardo, Mr. Harriman, and many, many more. So this explains all the imaginary friends. What about Mac and Miss Foster? Well, here's how they came into play. Mac was also an imaginary friend, based on the depiction of Frankie's little brother. Frankie's mom got pregnant with a little boy, and Frankie and her family were excited. Her family were excited, though, because they thought they would have a normal child. But when the baby was due, the umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's neck and killed him. And though the baby was dead, he was named Mac. So Mac was the image of what Frankie thought her brother would end up like. As for Miss Foster, she was also an imaginary friend, based on Frankie's grandmother. Her grandmother was the only person who understood her and gave her the love she deserved. However, when Frankie was 9 years old, her grandmother was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. She died 6 months later. So Frankie, along with her imaginary friends, lived there for years, right up until the year 1952, when the house was set for demolishing. Frankie was chasing Blue in the backyard when she saw the wrecking ball swinging towards her. That was the last anyone has ever heard from her. Now comes the question, what do I think of this theory? This is so far my favorite theory that I have read. The reason being is, one, I did enjoy the show when I was younger somewhat. I didn't watch it a whole lot, but whatever. But also, I enjoy this because I myself have autism. And although I cannot relate to this theory in any more ways than that, really, I can relate to the feeling of having trouble making friends and feeling alone. I had a lot of trouble even talking to people as a kid. Everything involving socializing was a challenge to me, and still is a challenge to me somewhat. However, I've gotten better. If it wasn't for the autism class I was in, from grade 1 to high school, I would have probably not have made many friends. Also, when I was little, I talked to myself a lot. Mostly, though, when I was by myself. Now, for whether or not I think this theory is real, although it's a good dark tale, I think this theory is just a made-up myth. The reason being is that, where would someone find a story like this? Who was the person that made this into a show? And who was the person who pitched the idea to the Cartoon Network who made it into a show? they probably didn't say this theory exactly when pitching the show, but I mean, how would they have found this story? It would probably be really hard to find something like this, or make up something like this. The other reason I think this show is fake is because you do see in the show that they use certain modern day technologies, such as a computer. But this theory was set in the 1930s. Computers didn't exist. So, what, can Frankie predict the future or something? But, regardless, thinking, and probably is this theory being fake, I do think this is a good read, and I do recommend it to anybody who wants to read it. And that link will be down below to the full theory if you wish to read it yourself. Anyways, guys, that is it for me today. Thanks for watching. I hope to come back with my cartoon theories soon. Please leave down below if you know any good cartoon theories you'd like me to read next. If you can leave the links, as I believe you can leave links now to outside websites on YouTube, which is probably the only thing I liked about the comment section update. Leave that below, or just leave me the name of the theory and I can find it myself. Thanks for watching, and this is Bradley Dunn, signing off.